today I think we wanted to talk about the process of creating value for the customer and how to introduce something to the market. So first, I would like for us to talk about and for you to describe the process of how does one come up with an idea for something that is innovative, for a product or a service, like where to start?
Yeah, so this is a long discussion, but let me start at the very beginning. So obviously, we have to have some idea of a product or a service that could potentially be of value to some customers at least. So where do you get that idea from? This is a very tricky question, but fundamentally, an idea for an innovation, most of the time, not always, but most of the times, comes from having some knowledge about some customers or some thing that is going on in the marketplace. And you don't have to go out and do very detailed research about any customer or a marketplace, what competition is doing, what's happening with technology, how can you leverage technology. You have some general ideas, and based on these general ideas, you come up with, let's say, a service concept, you can, or maybe a product concept. You might say, well, gee, maybe there's this new technology now that can connect customers with suppliers, and maybe I can come up with some sort of a platform to connect them. That might be an idea. Now, where did that idea come from? It comes from beginning with some understanding of what's going on in the marketplace. And when I say marketplace, I mean what kind of new technologies are coming up, what are some customer problems that exist, what are some competitors doing that you could add on, and so on. So you have to get a germ of an idea before you can start going forward. And the germ of the idea comes from general understanding of what's going on in the world around us. So now, uh, the thing is, once you come up with some germ of an idea, then you have to start asking the question, is this thing going to add value to a customer? Is this going to create value to a customer or not? And so that begs the question, what exactly is customer value or value to a customer? And so you can think about create value to a customer as comprising of four things actually. Number one is your product can help customers do something better. So, for example, you might come up with a car design that gives you better gas mileage. So that would be a benefit to the customer. Or you could come up with some idea for increasing the reliability of a operation or a product or something. So these are what I like to call benefits that help a customer do some things better or faster or with greater reliability or something like that. So that's number one. And number two, you can come up with an idea that reduces the cost of manufacturing or the cost of some operation that customer is engaging in right now. So, for example, you could come up with a new raw material that reduces the cost of manufacturing a product, or or you could come up with a new technology by which you have to replace some parts less frequently and thereby save some money. Uh, or, for example, we are talking on a video conference right now. I mean, it's unbelievable. We don't have to travel and pay all that money just to talk with each other. We can do it on Zoom. So that's another idea where you can do something cheaper. So the second bucket then for value is, can I reduce the cost to the customer in some shape or form? And then the third bucket of value is, can I reduce the risk to a customer? So, so for example, a customer may have some operations that are going on and their operations fail, every 2 months, let's say. And when their operations fail, they incur a lot of cost. So if I can reduce the frequency with which their operations fail, or I can reduce the likelihood of operations failing, then I am making their operations safer or less risky, if you will. So this is the third bucket of value. So in my engineering mindset, if I had to write an equation, I would say customer value equals benefits that you can provide, meaning what they gain, minus the costs that they are incurring right now, meaning what they lose, minus the risk that they are facing right now, meaning these risks are basically costs that they may or may not incur. So that's one way to think about customer value. So this is the notion of customer value. But when it comes to innovation, the most powerful innovations are not things that help customers do things better or cheaper or safer. They are, but the most valuable things are when you can help a customer do things that they could not do earlier. That is huge. So let me give you an example of this. So before the iPhone came along, if we had to go on the internet, we had to go to the desktop and connect to the web and so on. And but when iPhone came along and you could access the whole web on your phone, no matter where in the world you were, no matter what time of the day or evening it was, very conveniently. Now that is a very powerful innovation because we could not do that without the iPhone. We could not connect or speak on the web before the iPhone came along. So when you can enable a customer do things that they could not do previously, not just that is huge. Of course, it's also helpful to help customers do what they're doing right now better, cheaper, safer, no problem. That is innovation. That's important. But really powerful innovations are things that they cannot do right now, and you make them do that. So I would say you kind of think about that seed of the idea that you had come up with. You pass it through these screens. Is that idea, product concept or a service concept, is that going to help customers do something better, cheaper, safer, or something totally new? And so once you start thinking about that, don't think about customers in a very generic way. Don't kind of say, well, there are so many customers out there, they would like this product or they would like this service. That is a trap. You don't want to do that. What you want to do is pick a very specific customer, a very particular customer, a particular company, and then understand that company and go observe them, go talk to them, understand their pain points, and then sort of ask the question, okay, this idea that I have for a product or service, will it work for this particular customer? Not some abstract general customers out there, but for this customer. Will it work for Volkswagen? Will it work for this agri company? Will it work for this tech company's particular company? And what's going to happen is when you immerse yourself in that particular company, you will learn all sorts of things from the company. You may learn that your idea is simply not going to work, or you may learn that the idea that you have is needs to be modified a little bit before it can work for this particular company. Yeah, so then you kind of modify that idea, or you reject that idea completely when you immerse yourself in a customer's operations, people, their logistics, their websites, whatever. And then what happens is you might get some new ideas for new products or other services that you could offer. So basic point really is you have to have the germ of an idea, and then you have to check it with the reality of a particular customer, modify that idea, check it again with the customer, modify that idea, check it again with the customer, or come up with a totally new idea, check it with that customer, and keep iterating until such time as you say, aha, now I can see that this idea that I have, this concept that I have, will actually add value to a customer, meaning help them do things better, cheaper, safer, or new things. So, so that's kind of what the process looks like. So over here, one very important thing is you uh, if you try to visualize the customer actually using your product or using the service, imagine the people there actually using the product, actually using the service, and how their operations or their lives or their experience becomes better, then you have greater likelihood of success rather than just at an abstract level saying, well, they can improve their operations or they can improve their experience or they can reduce costs. No, look at it very concretely, very specifically, whether that is actually happening or not. And I should note that Steve Jobs famously said, "Don't talk to customers because they don't know what is possible," and he's right. So uh, sometimes sometimes customers in fact don't know what they want because they don't know what is possible, and there we have to use our imagination to come up with new concepts of products or services, and check whether they're going to be adding value or not. Um, and sometimes, though, customers know, they can tell you there's a concept called lead customers, but sometimes customers know what they want, but they can't find it in the marketplace. And so they will tell you what they want. So it works both ways. So, basic point really is you can come up with innovative ideas on your own, or you can ask customers for ideas for product concepts or service concepts. But then once you have this germ of an idea, check it with the reality of a customer and ask, will this really create value or not? And you keep going back and forth between modifying that idea, checking it with the customer, keep iterating until such time as you settle on a product or a service idea that will be in fact valuable. And then one last thing I would say over here is that uh, you know this process is very messy. It's not linear. It's not step one, step two, step three. Innovate, as people in your institute know, innovation is a very messy process, and there's no linearity to it. It goes all over the place, and that is perfectly fine. That's just the way things work. You can talk with other people around you, pardon me, as well, to sort of keep modifying your ideas and keep pivoting. That's the word. Keep pivoting from one product concept to a modified one to a yet modified one. But after all this is done, you need to boil it down into a simple, very compelling value proposition. So you do all this mess, you go through all this process, but in the end, you want to be able to say something very simple, very clear, because if you can't do that, customers are not going to buy.